commencement marshal. So I was having that entire conversation
in your robes,
in tails, and white tie and a top hat. Yeah. So it's like only at Harvard can you solve the world's problems in tails and a top hat.
And you were handsome.
I try. My hat was. It's funny because with the top hat, I had never worn a top hat before in my entire life, and I have a big head and even bigger hair. So in order to make it fit, like I'm not a Roosevelt, I wasn't born back then, so it's not like you're getting fitted for it, So like you go to the rental place and they give you one, and I was going for like Roosevelt, but I think I ended up with like Ringling Brothers instead, because if your top hat doesn't quite fit, you end up looking like the three-ring circus. Now you kind of mess up the look, and when I was there, when I was in the yard, I saw some alums who had clearly done this like many years before. This is my first time doing it, and I could tell people who had done it before, like they knew exactly how their hat should fit, like perfect. They had it down pat.
Just when you thought you really knew all the important life skills,
exactly.
There's always something else.
There's always something else. There's always someone else. Exactly. So yeah, but yeah, we had that whole conversation.
What did we talk about, Ahmed?
Well, you were in the early days of your brain project. You were just sort of fleshing out the concept behind it, and
that was in May of 2014.
That was in May of 2014 or 15. That have been 15.
May have been 15.
Yeah. And you were in the early days of fleshing out your concept, and you've been sharing with me this morning on how far along you've gotten with it, which is amazing.
Well, before we go there, Liz, tell us about you.
Hi.
This is the Facebook Live or just like a regular video? Please don't say
this
Facebook Live.
This is not Facebook Live.
Okay, good.
That takes the pressure off a little bit.
I'm totally not ready for live video right now, especially as I'm sitting here with a champagne flute in my hand,
I know, exactly.
in my, all that.
Not Facebook. we are not online.
So my name is Elizabeth Moore, and I grew up in Concord, Massachusetts, right here, and I'm now back in the East Coast after living in Japan and Northern California for about 12 years.
As one does.
Of course. To get a master's in education, which is the field that I'm extremely passionate about. And I'm here with my fiance, Keith Rogal.
Congratulations.
Class of '84. And so we're here to celebrate fall and being together and Harvard and the Fly
Go
Club.
Crimson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Proper indoctrination to the game.
Is this your first time at the Fly Club?
This is my first time inside the Fly Club.
Welcome to the seventh
Thank you
circle of
very
hell.
But it's fun. So at our wedding, we have quite a long list of fellow Fly Club friends that will be, or brothers, I guess, that will be at our wedding. So.
The Illuminati.
I know, the Illuminati.
Or so they say.
So that'll be fun. Now I feel like I understand it a little better. So, yeah.
Imagine, you guys, because you can see the quality of the discourse. As soon as one gathers in this room, under this very special ceiling, all of it is elevated immediately. Or at least so it appears through the mists of the passage of time.
The intellectual conversation, I want to join on that, because what we were talking about in 2015 was talking about our lives with Bob Sakowitz and his friend. And I had just recovered from West Nile virus, 400 days in the hospital, poliomyelitis, encephalitis, respiratory failure, told it was over. And I used what I had learned about creative problem solving with working with B.F. Skinner and working with Jerome Bruner and getting my doctorate in cognitive psychology and after behavioral psychology of the body. And then I was the founder of the Whole Brain Corporation in '83. And so I used this methodology. And since talking to Ahmed, I have completed the research to a phase where I'm now ready to publish on it. And it turns out to be a three-dimensional conceptual framework for the human mind that can be shared with the world. That includes a dimension from the back of the brain to the front on creativity, left and right for understanding humanity, and technology, limbic to cerebral system. And I was delighted to run back into Ahmed Yearwood because I need help in launching my primitive website with my still primitive ideas, because I want to get this out to 5 billion people by 2020. I applied in kind of a club spirit thing for the $100 million MacArthur Prize, called 100 and Change, on October 3rd. I haven't heard yet that I've lost. It comes in December 6th. And I was selected on the artificial intelligence out of 800 candidates to move to the next round. But there's a lot to what we're doing. And the things that we're moving from an age where the battles are emerging in every front to look at technology taking over. Globalization and technology. But it's leaving humanity in many quarters to fend for itself, disrespected, without work. And so it's going to be education that is going to inform humanity to get back in control of technology so it doesn't run away with us. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking about.
What about the experience of being stationary in a kind of hospital setting? How did that experience play into your thinking and research and kind of evolution in this idea?
In that I was a research assistant to B.F. Skinner in 1961. The mind was a 4-letter word. He became known as he was the most famous behaviorist in the world. But it was the behavior of the body. He wasn't called a body snatcher, but he was pigeons and stimulus response, linear programming. And so what I found was that when I was in the hospital, the body didn't work anymore. And with the poliomyelitis and with the encephalitis, the brain didn't work. And the mind was delusional. And as I came out of the coma, and just lying there, I had a new fondness for the mind. And I began to take the research that I'd done throughout my life and applying it. And I said, I think I'll apply it to myself. And so it gave me a new understanding of the fundamental process of humanity and technology is the creative process, and I've been able to map that to the brain.
Reduced down to only that, but that's everything. Everything is there within the mind. So it's like kind of focusing in as all these other faculties were rendered.
Well, the whole business of faculties, from the Bible to Aristotle, faculties of the mind, the soul, the spirit, were approximations. They did not, at that time, have access to fMRI machines to be able to map the brain as they did last July. But things are happening so rapidly that we have a legacy of millions of years on the human brain. The evolution of the human brain is going to be glacial. The changes in the body are going to be glacial too. The same bodies that they had a long time ago. The one area that is vulnerable to make an intervention is in the human mind. And we need to take technology and reverse engineer it as the technologists reversed engineered the human beings. Now that we know what the essence of humanity is, as expressed in technology, we can see symmetrical, parsimonious, synergistic patterns and create, with design thinking, a whole new mind for a conceptual age. Anyway, last comments. Keith?
Well, I can only say that is clearly a far broader and more expansive set of questions and topics than anything to which I could contribute. But it is exciting to have someone who has been so rooted in the foundations of knowledge, who's now chosen to focus on it and beginning to share it with three of us here, and with hundreds and thousands, millions to come.
Well, I'm gonna get your coordinates and share what I'm doing, and this is a movement. Getting the technological capability to be able to share it the way others I've seen recently do it quite convincingly, and for good or evil. I'm going to give it my shot. What do you think, Liz?
Oh, I'm just reflecting now on my experience as an undergrad. I was a religion major. And I entered that field because I was so interested in kind of this notion of the spirit. And I found then, becoming a scholar of religion, I ended up really shifting away from kind of that mysterious piece, like kind of studying it from a more critical space. And I also am finding that now as an educator, working in the field of education now for about 12 years, and doing it because it's my calling and because I have this kind of soulful passion. But now over the last 6 months, being back in this really intellectual kind of head space. So I really appreciate what you're saying about kind of your own personal experience combined with the years of extensive research and kind of moving forward from that space. It's really resonates with me.
Well, my daughter went to Concord Academy.
Really?
And got into Harvard, but went to Princeton. Was going to major in comparative literature, but we said, "Oh, you can learn that on your own." I so wish she'd majored, but she majored in religion. And I am now thinking more about religion too, because the framework that I've got should be able to give you a conceptual framework to compare all religions, all philosophies, all heroes, all everything. It's a paradigm shift, and it's people want to solve once. We've come from an age of specialization, where if you have a product that will do one minor thing, statistically a little bit better, you can make $1 billion. If you have a more general problem, they say, "What are you talking about? I want some. I have this serious problem," and I've found that even in nutrition and agriculture, that the paleo diet and my Atkinson protocol with Charlie's conceptual cube, that's what I call my framework. I've lost 60 pounds. I've helped people help themselves to recover from end-stage renal disease, from brain aneurysm, hemorrhagic stroke. I got a call this morning from a referral from Mass General Hospital, where Dr. Tabatabai referred his patient who had a spinal injury, who needs some help. I know I've got a lot to offer, and now that all of humanity is experiencing from the results of the election the kind of distraught, devastated feeling that I felt 4 years ago from the results of the infection, I assure you that I know what the pain by comparison, and everyone can benefit from the pain and take advantage of adversity. The obstacle is the way, and I'm going to get help from Ahmed to do my video. I'm going to get help from Liz to do my educational curriculum. And Keith, your specialty, besides Liz?
Providing support. Providing flawless support.
Providing what?
Providing support.
Well, we sure as hell need support. I'm going to turn this off, but you've made my day on this Harvard Yale weekend, the day when the graduate from this organization is now running the country with his father-in-law.
We'll pick back up on this afternoon, and we will be roasting Yale Bulldogs for lunch.
For lunch.
Exactly.
Bravo.
Everything's good. Well, I'm not going to